Hi everyone, welcome to the Intersection of Motherhood and Entrepreneurship series. My name is Dr. Amy Abelar, and in this video we are going to talk about how to financially prepare for maternity leave. There's a few different options for how you can do this, and really kind of depends on whether you are self-employed, whether you are an employee of your own company, and how far in advance you're trying to plan. So we'll never be at a point where we feel like we've got enough money saved, right? But obviously, number one thing is trying to save ahead of time, minimizing your expenses ahead of time, saving as much money as you can ahead of time, because we don't know what our pregnancy will be like, and we don't know what our maternity leave or what our postpartum period will look like with our maternity leave. And I just mean from perspectives of you could end up with really bad morning sickness. You could end up with hyperemesis gravidarum, which, I don't wish on anybody, but it does happen. You could end up with bed rest. There's a whole lot of different options. And it doesn't mean that you are going to. I certainly don't want to put that out there, but you do need to prepare because everybody's pregnancy journeys are going to be different. And I even had a very different pregnancy journey between my first and my second. So you want to try to have money saved ahead of time. You want to try to have some sort of disability insurance plan ahead of time because you want to make sure that you're covered as much as you possibly can be. Preparation is key. So there's a few different options that I want to talk about. Number one is one of the options for continuing to supplement your income while you are on maternity leave is to hire another acupuncturist to work for you. This allows you to be making money while somebody else is accommodating patients that you either already have that are existing in your practice, and then also accommodating new patients as they're coming in, right? So as you get closer towards the end of maternity leave, you're probably not going to want to take on new patients because those new patients are going to be people who may need ongoing care, and you will not be in the office to be able to provide that support. And instead of referring out, you can just keep that money within the practice and keep that patient within the practice by having another employee. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, we've got other videos that are talking about that specific topic. And then also within acupuncture practice systems, I coach on how to find a great acupuncturist, how to interview. We've got the interview questionnaires, sample job postings, onboarding documents, you name it, to help make that a much easier transition for you. But that's one way that you can create more income for yourself while you're on maternity leave. Another option is that you can get disability insurance either as a self-employed person or if you are an employee of your own company. So we'll talk about self-employed first because most of you are going to be self-employed. So as a self-employed acupuncturist, you can get private disability insurance. Companies like Aflac offer disability insurance like this. The key thing is with this disability insurance, you have to have it in place for a certain period of time before you conceive. So this is I'm planning way ahead. I'm getting my disability insurance and I'm getting it for preparation before I'm even pregnant, because what will happen is, let's say you have a 30-day waiting period. You get your disability insurance, you wait that 30 days, and then after that is when you could start trying. Now, my disability insurance person actually gave me some advice. They said, hypothetically, if you were to get pregnant with twins, a lot of times twins will only go to 37 weeks delivery, and there's always the chances of babies being born earlier. So they will track it back from when your babies are born to see. So some of the time that when your babies are born could mess with, is your coverage effective? So best way to do it is just get your coverage, wait if it's a 30-day waiting period, wait 2 or 3 months, and then start trying to conceive after that, if you are planning that far ahead. That is going to allow you to utilize disability insurance privately for your maternity leave. And I will also say, even if you have another acupuncturist who's in your office treating patients, you yourself are out, right? So you can still have private disability insurance that covers you for your time of being out while your patients are seeing another acupuncturist, because you are still disabled, you are still at home, and you are unable to work during that time frame. So you can definitely do both of those things at the same time. The other thing is if you have made yourself an employee of your own company. So some people have expanded their business not just to be a sole proprietorship, but into like an S corporation as an example. If you've made yourself a W-2 employee of your company, then you can collect state disability because you are a W-2 employee. There are certain requirements depending on your state, for how long you have to have been an employee of your company before you'd be able to pull from that. So like, as an example, if you've pretty much historically been self-employed and then you are now like, oh, I'm 6 months pregnant, I'm going to make myself an employee and then I'm going to collect state disability, I don't think that will be able to work. Again, you'll have to look at your own state, your own licensing requirements, but a lot of states will require that you have been a W employee for a certain period of time before you can draw from that. So that would be another thing that you can look into, would be state disability. And so again, main ways that you can help set yourself up financially is employ somebody else who can take on those patients, go through a private disability or a state disability. And again, you can also do both of those things, right? So my very first time that I took a maternity leave, I did have I did have private disability insurance before that, and I did not have another acupuncturist that worked for me. And so I only collected that private disability during that time frame. During my, during my second maternity leave, I was a W-2 employee of my company and had been for a while. And so I was able to collect state disability, and I had another acupuncturist who worked for me. And so the other acupuncturist was able to work on those patients while I was out of the office. So I was still making money off of them being there treating patients, and I was also collecting state disability for me being out of the office during that time frame. The other thing I want to make sure that I touch on here is when we're talking about the length of time that you can take off. So disability insurance will only cover you for a certain amount of weeks. A standard is 6 weeks if you have a vaginal birth and 8 weeks if you have a cesarean. That's just a general rule. If your doctor has decided you are still disabled beyond that, there's other coverage. Sometimes there's FMLA. It depends again on your specific situation, your state. So I would recommend asking your OB and doing your own research to figure out what might be applicable for you in your specific area that you're living and working. But one of the things I want to make sure I touch on is, let's say as an example, you have some patients that are like, I don't want to see anyone else. I really want to see just you. And you will have those. You'll have those people who are asking you, how soon are you going to be back? Please don't take a super long maternity leave. Ugh, drives me crazy. But you will have that. You will have that urge that you've got an emergent patient that really just needs to get in, and, you want to try to help them. If you are on disability, you cannot go in and treat patients, even if it's you just go in for 1 or you go in for 2. If you do that, you've now demonstrated that you are not disabled and you do not need to be at home on disability. You have to be very careful that you're not, you can't double dip. You can't be collecting from disability and also collecting payment from going in and treating patients, because that is insurance fraud. You cannot do that. So just make sure that you set yourself up with whatever your plan is going to be, and then you have to stick to that plan. Obviously, you can return from maternity leave early if you want to, but you cannot be double dipping with making money and working while also saying that you're at home not working and collecting disability. You can't do both of those things at the same time. So just want to make sure I put that out there. So those are some options for how to financially prepare yourself for maternity leave. There's plenty of other videos in this series to enjoy as well. And I will see you in the next video.